morning, all of you. Thanks to the leadership for nice introduction and for motivating you a lot. Not much of any further introduction because you already noted a lot of introduction about the budget and about the requirements for you to note from any budget. We will discuss the theme of the budget. But before that, there is important information about Economic Times Group which will inspire you, which is very important and also useful for your career to note. This media house is about 180 years old, one of the top media houses in the world, among top 3-4, and has been encouraging the student community, academia, to have good connect with industry and media. These three, the media, academia and industry, the connect between these three is probably best ensured by only Economic Times. I could say proudly about Economic Times on this fact. You must have been seeing a lot of private equity, venture capital investments being made, let's say, into the fancy names or the new age companies like Swiggy, Ola, Uber, etc. And the companies which make these investments make a lot of sound as venture capital, private equity, and they derive a lot of benefit out of this publicity also. But Economic Times is one group which has been silently making a lot of private equity investments and has been promoting a lot of companies. You would see some of the names into which this group has made investments into. And these are the arms of the group. Many of them would be known. Maybe you are all regular viewers or readers of many of them also. Times of India, Economic Times, then Screenfare, Femina, many of the fancy names, glamorous names, and newspapers, all of them. These are some of the companies into which ET has invested. Some of the companies. That number is floating. It's a roller coaster number 850. You could see some of the names which are well known to you. You know, either being a customer or a service recipient, let's say Basket, Uber, Baizu, Twitter, then Gitanjali, Rasna. Some of the names are thoroughly known to you, they are family names. All these companies have received either seed capital, angel capital or venture capital from the group and have prospered a lot. Some of them have become regular arms also. Something like Magic Drinks started as an outfit by a young team like yours and had to hand over the weight to the group, and it has grown from pillar to pillar. Now today it became a big organization. We'll come back about this later. There's a financial investigation. Small disclaimer, not to be more than much. Now we've started the budget concept. While this is an annual exercise, we have to pay attention to this budget concept for multiple reasons. One of the best reasons, well discussed and to be noted by the future managers like you, is GDP. GDP has a lot of depth to understand. It's a very intense topic. Understanding everything about GDP could be difficult, but not knowing at least the reasonable extent of GDP is a danger for any citizen. GDP is like the profit margin. If you are in a business, you will earn profit margin. You will start a business, you will run a business only for the profit margin what you are targeting. The growth rate of GDP is more like the return for the economy in a year. Countries which have lower GDP growth rates can allow the businesses in the country to earn a return compared with GDP growth. The simple benchmark and this analysis will make you understand about GDP in the long run. Any business operating in US can expect to make a reasonable return of say 2.3 or 5% between that range. Why? Because that country's GDP growth rate is between that range. If you are making a return of lower than GDP growth rate, being in a country, you are not actually making the sufficient return what is expected out of a business. Now you will understand why capital flight happens from developed countries to developing countries. Developing countries ought to have and do have higher growth rates of GDP, which is more like profit margin. Therefore, the capital which is in the developed countries would fly to these developing countries in search of higher return. Few riders, why capital is not flying to Afghanistan, Argentina, etc. So there are other reasons. There are very few exceptions, less than 0.01%. But broadly, capital flight happens from the countries where GDP growth rate is far lower to countries where GDP growth rate is much higher. When you read a budget, you will understand what is the probable GDP growth rate in the coming year. How do you understand? This is the estimate made by the government, considering the past growth and considering the capital expenditure they are planning, and looking at the revenues what government will get from the taxes. So how do government understand tax volume? By understanding the average or the overall profits of all the businesses put together. When government is estimating that it can receive 14% of corporate tax, it has understood that the companies which are into the businesses will pay this amount of tax. This amount of tax, what is estimated, is more like the profit margin of all the businesses put together. Estimate being made by government, of course. Therefore, this one simple number of GDP can give us realms of understandings or various aspects. It could be economy, it could be a business, it could be a sector, it could be comparison of countries, it could be the capital flight, it could be the regulation, convertibility of currency, all of them. We have to infer each of those variables with reference to GDP. That is how and why you read any analysis, there will be a reference to GDP of that country and of the world. You will understand about the GDP growth rate when you understand the budget. When you read the budget, you will know what could be the GDP growth rate. Budget, in fact, reports the GDP growth rate of the past year, expected for this year and the current next year. And the expenditure which is incurred or planned for asset creation. All of us know that the assets which are created in the business, in the economy, are the base for returning us the returns, returning us the profits. When the asset base is big, is large enough, returns could be higher. There has to be a balance between asset and expense. The asset creation requires huge expenditure. What is the expenditure that is being allocated for the asset creation also can be understood from the budget as the numbers report. Then expenditure for provisions, the welfare, the utility, all those things. Then the quantum and burden of fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit, as of now, you understand it as a deficit in the tax angle. Fiscal relates to annual tax related concept. The moment we use the word fiscal, it is basically tax word. What is the deficit of this year? The government is planning. You have 100 rupees in your pocket, but you are planning to spend 110 rupees. So why are you spending 110 rupees? For what purpose? And how are you going to fill the gap of additional 10 rupees? Do you borrow more? Do you sell off one of your assets? How? How do you do it? Or do you print more currency notes? That kind of program also will be explained in the budget. Then influence on the inflation levels. We have seen there expenditure being incurred more than what is earned as revenue could result in inflation. Naturally, when you have few goods and more money chasing few goods will result in inflation. Because there is only one vegetable cart selling eggplants 1 kg, eggplants, brinjals 1 kg. When 4 purchasers are there, you don't mind offering 5 rupees more, or you don't bargain because you will have the fear that others may pick up these 2 kgs. Therefore, you are in a rush to pay another 5 rupees and pick up the eggplant kg. This causes the price to go up. It could be multiple reasons. One of the reasons is what we have discussed. So, what is the impact on the inflation? That will be understood when we read the sectoral balance. I remember my economics lecturer scolding us, what is your mustache cut? Like Indian man, lopsided, one side up, down like. There could be sectoral balances which need to be achieved by the government. Private sector will try to operate in the sectors which are more profitable. Whereas government need to understand and then ensure sectoral balance across the country so that it will be sustainable for the economy. So what sectoral balance is achieved, or is it achieved, or is there any lopsided focus by the government to any sector? So as you go through, you will understand that this budget, as your professors also have given you the hints, this budget has focused much on infrastructure. Common men, common women, common people like us would have thought there is no reduction in interest rates, further reduction, there is no reduction in tax rates, there are no additional subsidies given. True. The focus has all been on infrastructure. While the logic was also explained in the talk by your professor, the logic is the gap created in the COVID has actually caused a lot of job losses, has actually reduced the consumption in the country, and the money flow, be it reserve money M0, narrow money M1, broad money M3, the money circulation in the economy has slowed down. When the money circulation slows down, the money multiplication slows down. When money multiplication slows down, businesses fail, governments will not get money, and when this money gets slowed down and nothing moves, the whole economy will have a deceleration, will have a decline. To give a good feeling, government can't keep giving us 1,500 rupees, 1,000 rupees every year. Instead, they have to spend more. How will government spend? Either give a subsidy or take up a big project. Government has realized that there is one sector which can absorb huge capital at once at a shorter span of time. What is that? Infrastructure. So about 5,50,000 odd crores, 5.54 lakh crores is planned with a focus only on infrastructure. That can absorb all this money quickly. One big dam project, one roadway, one railway infra. These all can absorb the capital within 1.5 years, 2 years time. And good push of 25% advances can flow into multiple industries. Let's say one construction industry project can fuel not less than 250 other industries. Call it iron, cement, glass, fiber, rubber, and even textile, because technical textiles will use resin cloths, etc., and chemicals and employment creation. So many things, coal, many things will be fueled. So 250 sectors can be fueled by striking using your striker and touching one coin. Therefore, the focus this year has been infrastructure. There could be other reasons, election, all that stuff. We are discussing broadly the academic reasons than the other reasons. The employment creation, yes, we did speak about it. So for startups or any subsidies to be given for the companies to propel more employment creation. This could be target, may or may not be achieved. We have to see to what extent it will be achieved. And tax collection mechanism, how government wants to collect the taxes. Could there be a scheme? Could there be a reduction? Could there be advanced tax system? All that stuff. Then how financial markets are promoted. We've just discussed that capital flight happens from a developed country like US, Europe to India, or Switzerland to India. Not only because GDP growth rate is higher here, but also could be because the financial markets here are relatively better, if not better than their own financial markets, relatively better than many other financial markets. So creating a robust financial system in the economy is a challenge for the government. All governments, whatever is the government, whatever is the party, it's a challenge for the economy. Then attracting foreign investments. So attracting foreign investments, we just thought capital flight happens. Why should it happen? We have only 100 rupees, but we are planning to expend 110 rupees. That 10 rupees could be mobilized through multiple ways. Number one, borrow domestically from all of us, borrow from abroad. 3, invite or attract equity investments or debt from abroad, from other foreign companies, foreign countries. Then the last option could be printing more currency notes, adopting a quantity QE method. Or these are the factors what we have to and would understand whenever we read any budget of any economy. These are the budget documents. What are those things? Annual financial statement. This is the budget statement, the budget document. What is a budget? Plan. Yes, all of you know. It's a plan in numbers, about an economy, plan in numbers about an economy in terms of tax rates, plan in numbers about an economy in tax rates, about what they have achieved and what they would like to achieve. And we can add on other terms and then extend the meaning of it. But it is all the annual financial statement which presents a brief statement of 3 parts. 1, the past year's actuals, what have been achieved. 2, the current year's revised estimates. 3, the ensuing year's budgeted estimates. We have 3 parts. Past year's actuals, current year's revised estimates, Then the ensuing year, the budget years, budgeted estimates. These are what you will understand, and one glance of this AFS statement will give you a complete understanding about the economy. More particularly, when you compare this with other countries' AFS budget statements, you will understand where an economy stands. Then you have demand for grants. Demand for grants is more an internal document of the government, where various ministries, various departments will place their demand for the grants required from the central government. Let's see, you have here roadways department, you have education sector, medical sector. Some of the sectors are in concurrent list. Some are in center list, some are in state list, some are in concurrent list. Center lists are all funded or in the jurisdiction of center, state in the state, and the concurrent list happens to be governed by both center and state. For example, education is in concurrent list. Center has to fund, state has to fund. Land is absolutely in state list. State only has to fund, plan, adopt the schemes, whatever. The demand for the grants is placed by the departments, by the ministries, the central government. As per the demands, assessment will happen. There will be a dialogue. Someone like you will sit in the ministry and will call the concerned department officer, minister, and you will have a dialogue, understanding what was granted in the last 5 years, how much was utilized, how was it utilized, are there any objections from the Controller Audit General, CAG, and what were the audit objections, observations, have they been filled, have they been fulfilled, have they been overcome, and yes, then what could be the revised estimate requirement for the ministry, department, and what is available as a whole. Just like any other family budget, you will ask for a bike and father would say, this year it's not possible because we have allocated for painting, etc., etc. What is left is not sufficient for bike this year, so plan next year. Or you have a smaller grade bike, if not bigger one. This is how the exercise also will be done in the country. And when you justify that this additional allocation to your department, to your ministry, can propel, can cause higher returns for this ministry, and therefore you will offer higher dividend from your department, ministry, or PSCs and CSCs, then government may be convinced and may allocate more money, but could be released over a period of time as per the grant schedule. Then you have the finance bill. Finance bill, we just discussed, fiscal relates to tax part. Finance bill will explain how the financing will happen. How the financing will happen. What is financing, what is funding, you will understand over a period of time. When you say financing, government giving you, bank giving you in the form of debt or in any other form with an obligation is all financing. Funding is your father funds your education, your mother funds your education, your parents are funding your education. The company will fund a project. Economic Times is funding many academia, industry initiatives by spending their valuable resource persons, time, research, understanding what is required, and a bit of ET campus programs, etc., and connectivity. All those things are planned with the research, understanding what is the gap and how to fill the gap for the benefit of the students. These all things are funded by the group. Your education is funded by the parents, by your parents, like that. Finance bill will explain how the budget is being funded by the government, how it is being financed where required from the other sources. That is the concept of finance bill. Then you have statements mandated under fiscal responsibility and budget management. Countries can borrow left and right and can import goods from outside, pay in their currencies. It's just printing. You can print as many notes as you could and pay or remit to other countries, import the goods. Currency has no value. The value is the goods. Currency's value is derived from the underlying goods what are manufactured to support the currency float in the country. You would understand, isn't it? What is currency? Currency is just printed notes, just white paper, printed with the required specifications, color, all those things. Unless there is an underlying good, underlying service available for you to purchase, avail, this currency note has no value. So you can print as many notes as you can, and then pay them to whichever country is taking it, accepting it, and import their goods and services and then avail of. So who is better off here? Not the country which is producing the goods, rendering the services, but the country which is just printing and then supplying the notes. There could be a country supplying notes, there could be a country supplying goods and services. In the long run, the country which is supplying the goods and services is put to loss because it is receiving only value less, rather less valuable currency notes. Therefore, To avoid this anomaly, as an intergovernmental convention, there has been a requirement by the IMF, World Bank, for all the countries to have a self-imposed discipline, which has been adopted by many countries like India, which is come in the name of FRP. Fiscal responsibility. What is the responsibility placed on India by India itself? 3.5% of your GDP can be the deficit. So you want to borrow. How much you want to borrow? You have got 10 rupees as your equity money, you want to borrow 90 rupees and start a business. Can you borrow anything more than 3.5 beyond GDP as a deficit? No. That is the cap which is put here. Which means your borrowings cannot cross more than 3.5% of your GDP. That is the cap which is put by the FRDF Act. Now, can you cross this? Yes. If there is any special situation which would require more money to be borrowed, like this COVID situation, then you have to amend the Act with a temporary target, again reverting to the target of this 3.5 what you have put, and then you can borrow more. That is how this FRBM will create discipline for the country, and the statements related to that have been presented to the budget. Then you have expenditure budget, revenue budget, or receipt budget. They are self-explanatory. Expenditure budget. So once you have the 100 rupees, how you are spending for the, or let's say for one of the program in your college, so for decoration, for food, and then for entertainment, then for makeup, then for, let's say, bouquets, then other things are travel, transportation, lighting, photographs, video, etc. So how you plan the expenditure for all the activities what you have listed out, or expenditure budget. Receipt budget is how you are receiving, what you are receiving is all receipt budget. Expenditure profile. Profile explains you to which sector what is going, how much is going. It's quite important for you to understand which sector receives what percent of funds, what amount of funds. Then budget at a glance. These are more annexures to explain you more about the budget than about the system. Then memorandum explain the provisions of the finance bill. Finance bill will have this tax expected, etc., etc. So what all changes have to be carried in the tax law, the finance bill will be detailed with reference to the section, with reference to the replacement, with reference to the repeal of any particular clause, etc., etc., all in the memorandum to the finance bill. Then outcome monitoring framework. How government wants to monitor the outcome. What's the outcome? Your parents have spent 10,000 rupees on your tuition, 1 lakh rupees on your course. The outcome needs to be measured in some metrics. Those metrics, how government want to monitor this outcome is all explained in descriptive note in the outcome framework. Then the key features of budget, which is just at a glance thing for us to understand. This we have just now explained. This is an important slide. We have all along been focusing more on deficit, all along, because deficit or surplus are two concepts which attract more attention of any activity, be it business or non-business. We have to understand about the deficit. We have to understand what is budget, what are the budget documents, and something about the deficits. Then having a look at the numbers. Numbers will explain you the trend. If number has no meaning, unless you have a trend, unless you compare it with other number, the past year number, next year projected number like that. But once you understand what is the concept of that, then you understand how to infer the numbers. These are the 4 kinds of deficit what you have to understand very thoroughly. Fiscal deficit. What is fiscal? Tax related period. Annual year, per annum method. Fiscal deficit is the total receipts, what you get, total receipts, plus the non-debt capital receipts. Non-debt capital receipts. What could the non-debt capital receipts be? Sometimes you get dividends, yielding shares will be sold. Dividends, yielding shares will be sold. What are you doing? Are you getting a revenue amount? No. Dividend what you are getting is a revenue amount which you get every year, or interest what you are getting is a revenue amount. When you sell this equity share what you are owning, when you sell the company into which government is holding shares, that is capital. You can't sell the same company again and again. You would receive the dividend year after year, interest every year, but you will not be able to sell the shares what you have sold once. Such receipts are capital receipts and non-debt. They don't carry any debt for the company, the country. If total expenditure is more than total receipts, revenue receipts, plus non-debt capital receipts, that is fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is a universal measure which will explain the total borrowing what the government is planning. Now, current year's budget, as was rightly pointed out by your faculty, by your professor, gave us a hint that government is borrowing heavily. If government is borrowing heavily, businesses will be worrying. Why? Businesses will have less capital flow in the market for them to borrow, or businesses should be prepared to incur higher interest costs if they want debt funds for their business expansion, for their business running. And common men, common people may also have a worry that interest rates may go up. But who would benefit? Who may find it interesting? Someone who is saving money. Someone who is saving money in FD or mutual funds, etc., any saving schemes, will find it slightly interesting. Why? You can expect higher interest rate than what you are expecting, what you are receiving earlier. Today, if you place a deposit in any bank, how much interest rate you will get? 7%. Very good. We should start a bank. Then we will all invest it. We will all deposit it. Today, 8.5%. Practically, it is today about 2.65 to 3%. Presently, it is hardly 3%. Hardly 3%. So there were days, like how he said, at 7% we could deposit. There were days we could deposit at 8%, 5%. But presently, it is hardly 3%. From now to the interest rates increase, as the trend indicates, then we will be happy as savers. But businessmen will be unhappy because they have higher interest costs in their expenditure. This always has an equilibrium. At some point, you will find it acceptable, they will find it acceptable. But nonetheless, there will be always a trend which is created by the fiscal deficit on interest rates, on the capital availability in the economy. That is explained by fiscal deficit. The next one is revenue deficit. Revenue deficit need not be explained, self-explained. Why? Revenue deficit, simple. Revenue expenditure in excess of revenue receipts is revenue deficit. But effective revenue deficit is important because it has got an analysis. It has got a small point which deserves understanding by you. Whose budget are we talking about? Yes, central budget, union budget. There could be some items, there are in fact some items which are revenue in nature for central government but could become capital receipts for the state governments or the ministries. How? Some grants which are given by union government to the states on an annual basis. If there is a 10-year long program, 5-year-long budget program, funding program, money will be released by the government every year in parts. That is revenue expenditure for union government, but it is creating a capital asset for the respective states or the ministries. Those ministries will see a capital creation, asset creation. Why asset creation? We just spoke about it. Expenditure can result into an asset. Expense will get expense. So you have an ice cream, she has an ice cream. That is an expense. And she has purchased a pen. That is expenditure which has created an asset which can be used for a relatively longer period, maybe 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, depending upon the nature of the asset. So what gets expensed is an expense. You take it into your statement of P&L. What is expenditure? It will take the shape of an asset. Therefore, we will have a long period. It could be 1, 3, 5 years, whatever period, depending upon its longevity, and would be subjected to depreciation, replacement, restoration, etc. Repairs. Here, the moment you say revenue, it is always revenue. However, some revenue expenditure of union government will go into the pockets of departments and ministries and create assets. Those need to be deducted, those need to be adjusted to arrive at what is the effective revenue deficit. So the capital asset creating grants disbursed by the central government, when they are deducted from the revenue deficit, that gives you effective revenue deficit. Now you will have to answer to me, will revenue deficit will be more or effective revenue deficit will be more? primary deficit. Primary deficit also is quite important. This has got a bit of analysis. This is a managerial analysis, so you will be able to better understand than me. Your budget has lists of expenses what you are incurring. Your budget has interest expense what you are paying. What is this interest expense? Why has this arisen? Why is interest existing? Why is interest cost existing? You have borrowed, very good. You have borrowed. And when have you borrowed? This year? No, last year. So you are paying interest on your prior period borrowings. You are paying interest today or this year for your prior period borrowings. So the interest cost what you are incurring for the past year's borrowings have to be adjusted, deducted to understand what is the primary deficit. Primary relates to this year. What is the deficit you have for this year? When you deduct the expense you are paying now relating to past years, that is primary deficit. Plus you understood these four deficits which are very important, and never again in your life you should have any doubt. You should refer whenever required, but you should have the concept at length. This is very important. Now let's have a quick look at the economy so that we'll understand where we stand. GDP annual growth rate 7.2 negative is reported, 7.5. These are all on CII basis, Central Intelligence Agency basis, which is a universal body which does independent. There could be slight variation because the reporting could be quarterly, some annually like that. Unemployment rate today also 6.5. Study well, otherwise you'll be into that part. And inflation rate, of course, is a chasing target. It keeps moving. Presently, it is 4.59. What has the reference of inflation to do with GDP and other things? Do you expect your GDP growth rate comparable, higher, lower to inflation rate? How do you expect it to be? What do you want it to be? What do you wish it to be? You want the GDP growth rate to be higher than inflation rate. Because if inflation is 5% and interest paid is 7%, like one of our friends said, you still have 2% positive return. If inflation is 7 and the deposit interest rate is 5, you are having 2% negative return effectively. Therefore, you would like the inflation to be lower than GDP growth rate. Inflation, what are we talking? Not one point of inflation, the average inflation. Interest rate. Now, this is the bank rate code. Then CRR, of course, that takes a lot of time for us to discuss about CRR, NLR, SLR. We'll only touch base with that. Then what you have to look at is government debt to GDP, close to 70%. Government debt to GDP is close to 70%. This is one of the metrics which will explain how government is funding its activities. Is government debt to GDP more than 50%, less than 50%? Will give an influence. There are many economies which have got more than 100% debt, government debt to GDP. Then manufacturing PMI, services PMI. That is also an important metric what you have to understand. This purchasing managers index explains us. If it is more than 50%, it is on a positive note, it is having a positive growth. If it is less than 50, both manufacturing and services, purchasing managers index, if it is less than 50, it means the economy is having deflation. It is on a negative growth path. Are there any countries with less than 50? Yes, many. Are there any countries with more than 50? Yes, many. Where are we? We are at positive more than 50, but not as high as 70, 80 like Vietnam and other countries which have got high level of PMI indices. Now we have come to budget at a glance. You have to pay more attention when you don't understand the numbers. For those who don't understand. For those who understand, you should pay even more attention so that you can enjoy the subject. The revenue, we discuss about 3 parts. 1, actuals of past year. 2, revised estimates of current year. 3, budgeted estimates of the budget year, which is the ensuing year, 21-22. 21-22 budget year, 2021 current year, 1920 past year. So there are the numbers for you. You can quickly look at it. Revenue receipts 16,84,000 crores, all in crores. Capital receipts 10 lakh odd crores. Total receipts are these things. Total expenditure, total receipts They'll have to balance. It's like balance sheet. Such a balance sheet also will tally. Otherwise, they are not accountants. Otherwise, they are not managers. It will tally. How it will tally? Could be deficit, could be surplus. So, how this tallies will explain us. Has government borrowed with a deficit, or has there been any surplus? For a piece of information, almost all of 195, 196 countries will have deficit. Why deficit? Is deficit good or bad? Good if there is growth. Good if there is growth. Bad if there is no growth. If you are having deficit in spite of lack of growth, it is bad because there is a decline. If there is a deficit when there is a growth in the economy, it is good because this additional borrowing what you are taking is helping you to propel the economy much further. You are borrowing to invest into an expenditure, creating an asset, thereby creating more revenues, thereby reducing imports, helping you import substitution, and helping you create more employment, and helping you earn more taxes and create more assets. That will be beneficial. So how are you funding it? Let's say with a deficit. It is good. If you, so long as you do business with your own 100 rupees, you may earn only 10 rupees on your 100. The moment you borrow 900 rupees and then add to your 100 and make it 1000 as a capital and then invest and do business, then you will earn 100 rupees profit and 10 rupees profit. Is it an algorithm? No. It's an example. You may lose your 100 rupees also. Possible. We are discussing about a positive case. So that happens when there is a deficit. Therefore, some countries like Qatar, one of the highest per capita GDP country, has got a surplus GDP, surplus budget. They don't know how to spend that additional money. In spite of creating all assets, they still have a lot of surplus. And there are countries with 70% deficit. 70% deficit. And India and many other equivalent countries have got 12, 13, 14% deficits. Now, total expenditure being 26 lakh 86,000 crores. Revenue deficit is this. What is this revenue deficit? Revenue expenditure minus revenue receipts. Effective revenue deficit. One of you have to state. Effective revenue deficit is after you deduct the capital grants, which goes into expenditure, which creates assets, capital assets. Very good. Then fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit is a variable which has concern to businesses, to students, to professors, and to industry person like me. Because this explains what is the borrowing program of a government in the current year. How it wants to borrow, how much it wants to borrow, how it wants to borrow, how it wants to substitute or fill the gap of it. Let us say a country like Venezuela, you will have to carry at least 4 bags full of currency, bolivars, to purchase 1 cup of tea so that you will live the day. One of the world's most richest country at the point of time, only because it adopted printing of currency as an option to fill the deficit for a long time of 7-8 years. Within a span of 7-8 years, it became the most poorest country in the world, rather bankrupt country in the world, and people are living with 1 cup of coffee a day as their food for the day. It's a today's situation. And you will find a lot of all papers, currency notes on the roads. You want to purchase a small muri, 5 rupee, 10 rupee muri, he will give you in a currency note. He doesn't care because it has no value. It has no value. The printing cost is 214% times of the actual fiat value of the currency note. You understand? The 5 rupee coin is today having printing cost of 4 rupee 80 paise. Still government is minting them because they are required for the ease of circulation. Your 2000 rupees note has got a printing cost of less than 1 rupee. So you will have a lot of benefit when the fiat printing cost is lower than the face value. So what do you do with 5 rupee coins? If you recall, maybe your professors would be able to recall as per their experience. Back then the copper coins were there. People used to keep all the copper coins inside without exchanging them because the fiat value, the copper if you melt and then sell, will give you more than 5 rupees. Why will you exchange for 5 rupees equivalent value? You will not. You will collect as many coins as possible in the market. And go a bit forward when there were silver coins. Whoever was smart never exchanged silver coins outside. They have all been receiving them inside. Of course, that's a different theory. But that is the situation which Venezuela, Argentina are in today because they have been printing currency notes to fill the deficit. This explains the deficit. Fiscal deficit, what we have looked at explains how the government will borrow and then will it cause any harm to the economy, to the business, etc. Primary deficit is what we have discussed. How a rupee is earned and how a rupee is spent. So when we discuss this slide briefly, I will tell you a small quotation. I don't remember the name of the author who gave the quote. There is a quotation, English quote, maybe Chinese quote. Chinese quotes are very wise across the world. If you understand how a person earns his dollar and how a person spends his dollar, you will understand everything about him or her, including her character. It has so much of depth. I could correlate by your two end to correlate. You will also understand it over a period of time. When you know about a person, how he is earning his rupee, how he is spending, you will understand a lot about him or her. A lot. Just that you have to pay more attention and think for a while and understand him or her. About his character, about his friendship style, about his lifestyle, about his family values or his career, how he will behave, everything. How he will behave also. So much of depth in single one rupee. And what relates well to this slide? Now let us look at the numbers. This is how a rupee is earned or received by the government. 36 pice is the borrowing. So now correlate with one of the person. One of your friend is borrowing 40 pice of his 1 rupee amount. Then you will understand either he will be a businessman who will earn it faster than repay or will go bankrupt shorter in a very short span. Something like that. Borrowings and other liabilities are contributing 36 pice every rupee. Corporation 13% interest. Income tax another 14 pice. GST another 15-14 pice. These three are more or less comparable. Corporation tax, income tax, GST are more or less comparable at the 14, 15, 13 pice each of them. Then non-tax revenue. There could be some interest receipts by the government from the interest carrying loans given to various ministries, PSUs, etc. There could be dividend receipt by the government, like RBI pays 40,000 to 60,000 crores per annum as dividend to Government of India. That dividend payment from these public sector units to government is also non-tax receipt. Non-debt capital receipts. We will discuss this point. You monetize the assets. You sell off one of the public sector units. You sell off the land owned by the government. That is monetizing the fiscal or the real assets owned by the government. That also gives you some receipts. Every year you sell off some assets. Your family silver. Possible. This has been happening in the country. Then this is how you spend. Centrally sponsored schemes 9 pice. Central sector schemes 13 pice. NREGA is a centrally sponsored scheme. Housing central sector scheme where state government also will add its share and then will implement the scheme. So both the categories will get some funding. Interest payments 20 pice. Did we discuss this anywhere? Yes. When we discuss about the primary deficit, what did you deduct to arrive at the primary deficit from the fiscal deficit? Fiscal deficit less interest cost was what you stated as primary deficit. That interest cost here is 20 pice. 20 pice. Therefore, what is the primary deficit in terms of pice for this year? 80 pice. Very good. 80 pice. Then defense receives 8 pice, subsidies 9 pice, finance commission and other transfers. There are transfers which are recommended by the finance commissions year after year. Presently, 15th finance commission has been recommending states tax share is about 42%, but from the budget it is 10 pice. Then states share of tax and duty 16 pice. This equates to 42% of the amounts received from the states. I repeat this in other words. From the taxes that are collected by the states and remitted to the central government, out of every 100 rupees which is collected by the state governments and remitted to the central government, 42% is given back to the states by the central government, which helps the state governments to spend for their requirements. And in the balance 58% which central government retains, it uses them for the central sponsored schemes for this state and for balancing for other states and sectoral balances, like how we discussed in one of the previous slides. Pensions 5%, other expenditure 10%. We are going a bit faster because we are running short of time. Now you are warmed up, so it should not be difficult for you to understand. It's just that you need to sustain your attention. You can look at the track, you can look at the trend here, you will understand. I will only discuss one point in this. 1920 actuals. 1920 actuals, the fiscal deficit was about 4.6. For 2021, government should have actually estimated a pattern of similar deficit, but they will be positive, like you and me. So they estimated lower fiscal deficit. This is budgeted estimates of 2021. Budgeted estimates. Budgeted estimates will have revision naturally, and as per the reality is this. Reality is this. 9.5 is the actual fiscal deficit for 2021, which is as per the revision. What was estimated at close to 3.5 became 9.5 when it is revised as per the actuals. Today you have revised and presented revised estimates standing in the month of January ending. Because you know the pattern of last 10 months, 11 months trend, what you have estimated 1.5 year back or 12 months stands revised, and you have presented depending upon these 11 months, 10 months numbers, which is the posted 9.5% fiscal deficit against the estimated 3.5%. Then why do you be so conservative or optimistic in estimating like that? All countries do it. This is a trend. You will find only this kind of thing up and down, like your grandfather's CT scan. It is always like that for all countries. Now it is budgeted at 6.8 for the current year. This I say is very optimum. Than 3.5, they have been kind enough to give a realistic picture of 6.8. It could still be more, but at least they have given relatively realistic picture than sticking to the FRBM, Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Act 2002, requires you to peg your deficit at 3.5. At 3.5, should there be a deviation from 3.5, you have to amend it by virtue of legislation, get it approved by the parliament, and then implement it, which is what the government has proposed to do now. Sources of deficit financing. We discussed it descriptively. We need to look at one point for us to move to next slide. Securities against small savings is the major source which has been giving funding for the government. It could be through pension funds, through national small savings certificates, through the bank funding system which goes into the other contribution to the government bills, etc. These all are the compulsion of savings of people like you and me savings. Your parents, you means your parents. So all these money, or some of you if you are earning a bit. So all these savings will go into the securities which are funding the deficit of the government. Major source is that there are other borrowings which we have discussed briefly, and there could be a drawdown of cash balance. There could be a book body, there could be a bank body. When you fall short of your receivables from the business cash flows, you will avail of an OD. When you fall short of your internal business cash flows, means you have 100 rupees in the business, you have given 110 rupees check. You have given 110 rupees check. Why have you given? You thought, I will, by the day that 110 rupees comes for realization, I would have had another 10 rupees into my business by virtue of cash flow. So this 10 rupees is a negative flow I am taking as a risk, because all checks what I issue will not come for realization at one point of time. They will present them in the due course by when my cash flows will increase. That is basically drawdown of cash balance. Is it good or bad? Yes, definitely risky, and could be bad, could be good. Could be good if your growth rate is sustained, and is bad in all other cases. Now we have come to 6 pillars. So your professor has actually told you health and well-being, fiscal infrastructure, inclusive development, reinvigorating human capital, innovation and R&D, that is end of course, and minimum government and maximum government. These are the pillars which they stated. Last year there was 3 pillars, now became 6 pillars, and let us look at the budget. I will run them a bit faster. Health and well-being, this is the focus of the budget because of COVID. This deserves a bit of attention. Fiscal and financial infrastructure creation has been the focus of the budget, which is required and have to be done. We have to see what is the implementation, but it is as a plan, it sounds good. As a plan, it sounds good. This has been the question lingering in the minds of all academicians and common people. There has not been any incentive given to a person. I want to say there has not been any incentive for me in terms of additional interest rate. There has not been any subsidy. There is no reduction of tax rate. There is no employment creation per se. These are all very, very true. 100% true. Then, still why the indices are responded positively? Because businesses will get more cash flows, more number of infrastructure projects, more borrowing by the government and funding back to the private sector, awarding more projects, starting more projects like 7 textile parks, dedicated freight corridors, more national highways. These are all things, shipping projects, port projects, railway infrastructure of 1.9 lakh crores. These all will ensure more cash flows into the economy. Where will it go? Into the pockets of business houses for implementation of all. This will fuel the cash flows for the economy. Therefore, businesses are very positive, optimistic. That has made, when business runs well, what will happen? Its profits will increase. When you see a company's profits going up or having the scope for going up, what will you do? You will bet positive on that. You will go long on that company, on that stock. So when you go long on the stock, when you purchase more, the stock will be in demand. What is in demand will have higher price. So that is how the Sensex has breached all-time record of 50,000 rupees, 50,000 in this level, and everyone has a big surprise or a question mark. This is the infrastructure being created, 1,97,000 crores over a period of 5 years in PLI. Certain important points I'll explain, otherwise broadly it is only a number for numbers, we'll skip. Production linked incentive is very important. Production linked incentive scheme is important because until now the mobile phones, these devices, or the various other textile, leather, APIs, all are coming into India as imported, going out of India or getting consumed here. This case is seeing drain of payments from India. Goods coming into India and only paid for without having the production support in India is not creating any employment, is not creating any profit margins for the country, except a trading margin of 0.1%, 0.2%. How many number of shops you would see in a road of mobile phones? Many number. 20 years back, we would hardly see any one company, any one shop having a telephone sort of items. Today, wherever you go to most nook and cranny place, you will find Coca-Cola shop, any retail store selling Coca-Cola beverages and mobile SIM cards or covers or fancy stickers, all that stuff. Anywhere in the country. These things are not manufactured in India, therefore it is having additional cost or burden on the country. PLI scheme requires, if anyone wants to produce or assemble in India and sell, 25% of the minimum requirement has to be procured from Indian sources and produced here in terms of value addition. Only then can you sell here. This makes the companies like the French company like IKEA, of course now it's Netherlands company like IKEA, or the Chinese Huawei, etc., to source at least the stipulated percent of products from the Indian manufactured sources. Therefore, this will support the Indian businesses and will support you and me to get an employment and will help the economy grow. That is the essence of production linked incentive scheme, which is very important, which was practiced by many other countries earlier, is being practiced now in India, of course. Then 7 textile parks and National Infra Pipeline. This you would have heard last year. National Infra Pipeline is a scheme project which was launched with 100 lakh crores, 102 lakh crores. Of that, how much is spent? Don't ask that question. 1 lakh crores only. It's a different thing, of course. Over a period of 5 years, which means per year you should have spent 20 lakh crores. But actual spent is only 1 lakh crore. Nonetheless, that scheme is now expanded by including few more projects into that list. Then other DFI. This is an important word. Development Financial Institution is a concept which was prevalent in India earlier but became extinct because of the situational developments. A commercial bank will receive deposit from her 1 day, from her 1 week, from her 1 year, from professors for 2 years, from some other investor for 3 years. But they have to advance loans to business houses for a period of 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. Because a commercial bank cannot take the risk of converting these very short-term deposits into long-term loans because they have asset liability mismatch. My sister will go tomorrow and then will come on the bench or on the desk and will say, yesterday I gave you 1 lakh, sir, kindly return today. Professor will demand his money back after 1 year. but the bank has already advanced this money to a business house as a 10-year loan. Bank cannot go back to the business house and then demand that 10 lakh rupees to be returned that day, because that would have got incurred, invested, flown into multiple other channels. So how will a bank meet this shortfall? Have you ever thought how will a bank meet? Bank would have got another deposit from Professor's sister, Professor's father, from another sister of mine, from another brother of mine. So there will be a flow of this which would happen round the clock or around the year, with which the bank will be able to fund the withdrawal request of first girl. Now, in spite of this flow, the chain, this is very intense concept. You have to pay more attention. In spite of this flow, commercial banks will